to the City of Gardner Planning Commission meeting for June 28th, 2021. If you haven't signed the attendance sheet in the back, if you please do that for me. Now call the meeting to order. If you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll start with roll call. We'll start with you, Commissioner Cooper.
Cooper here.
Thank you. And to my right.
Commissioner Ham here.
Commissioner Mader here.
Bowden here.
Here.
Commissioner Juniman here.
Okay, we have 6 quorum. Consent agenda matters listed within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the Planning Commission for study. These items are considered to be routine and will be enacted upon by one motion with no separate discussion. If separate discussion is desired on an item from either the Planning Commission or from the floor, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda. We have one item, which is the standing approval of the minutes as written for the meeting on May 24th, 2021. Do I have a motion to accept that?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner McNear and a second from Commissioner Mader. Sorry. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Did you say aye, Commissioner Cooper? Commissioner Cooper,
Yes.
did you state aye on the motion?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, motion, I have 6 ayes, no nays, motion passes 6-0. Item number 1 on the regular agenda is Burger King, FDP 21-04. Does the city have an intro on this?
Yep. Very quickly, this property is located on Lot 3A of Plaza South development. The Plaza South area is a larger commercial development that was approved previously. It is located on the east side of Gardner Road, approximately 500 feet north of 188th Street. This item is to consider a final development plan by Burger King for that location. The applicant is here tonight to provide a presentation of the application.
Thank you. The applicant can step forward.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Mark Hunter. I'm with Net Lease Development. I'm the applicant for this project. We are a developer for Burger King, so they will operate the store. We work for them throughout Missouri, Kansas, and Iowa. I don't have a prepared speech planned tonight. I'm kind of going to go through some high-level items that may be discussed, but if you have any individual questions, certainly feel free to ask them of me. So, as staff mentioned, this is where the general location of the site is on Gardner Road, in between 183rd Street and Interstate 135, or I-35 rather. Mind going to, do I have control of going to the next one?
It should be.
There you go. Let's try that. Okay, there we go. And this is the same site plan that you have in your packet. A couple of high-level observations from the site plan. This is a one-way site in a counterclockwise direction. One of the reasons that we had to do that, it's a pretty tight site for Burger King standards and to meet all the city criteria for landscaping, aisle distances, all of that nature. So with that being said, one of the things I'd like to point out is the connection to the existing pedestrian path along Gardner Road. That was something that we thought was a focal point during this design process. Was pointed out to staff, to us, and we thought it was a good idea. So item number 24, as you see it on your screen, that is stamped concrete as opposed to just normal striping to elevate that pedestrian connection. We have incorporated, again, based off of city staff comments, a bike rack, which is item number 25, which is closer to the walking trail along Gardner Road. Again, I'm going to skip to the next one, but certainly we can go back to the site plan if you have any questions on it. This is the landscaping plan that we are presenting tonight. As you can see, it's a pretty healthy mix of shrubs, trees, I don't have the legend on there, but we can dig into that if you have any specific requests, questions on species, anything like that. We did, one of the things that was brought to our attention by staff, we don't meet by the letter the street, excuse me, the building. There should be plantings near the building. We have done that along Gardner Road, and we've increased that presence. Again, this is a tight site, and it was important for us to have essentially walking paths through to the front of the building, the side of the building, and out to the rear for both customers and for our employees. One of the things that we try to do as developers and Burger King's philosophy in development in general is to work with staff. It's never our intention to fit a square peg into a round hole, and that's what we try to do here. Bob Case has been really great to work with, so we've been bouncing ideas off each other for the last few months, and the plan that you have in front of you is a culmination of that effort. With that being said, Burger King has a prototype building that they use that's very high quality with the intent to meet a lot of individual cities' needs for design intent. So as you can see, there's a lot of glass along, like looking into where the dining room is, and there's Nichi-Ha panels that have that kind of faux wood feeling, and masonry throughout, and EFIS on the upper band. So one of the things that I had promised to do in my response to the staff report, or to the staff comments, was provide pictures of these. This is the prototype in the field of ones that were just built last year. I think that this speaks a lot better to the building than something that you see on a plan sheet. Really, this is the intended lighting package. You can see it's well lit at night, not overly lit, but I will point out that the site lighting criteria has been met. We moved traditionally our site lighting is over the parking lot area. We've moved that away from the lot boundary so we can meet the ordinances for spillover for light. So really that's kind of where I'd like to leave the presentation. Certainly feel free to answer any questions.
Any of the applicants have a question, or any of the applicants, any commissioners have questions for that?
I'd say I'm new to the board, so I wasn't around when they initially proposed the project, but
Yes, sir.
is this other Burger King in town over by Walmart? Is that what's staying as well?
It is, yes.
People clamoring for Burger King in Gardner?
You'd be surprised, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commissioner Cooper, do you have anything?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. City presentation.
Let the slides change. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Dave Knoppett, Community Development Director. As soon as we get the slides presentation shifted, that'll be good. There we go. As mentioned before, this property in this case involves a location in the Plaza South development. This aerial just provides you an overview of the location of Gardner Road at about 188th Street. The red outlined box is the proposed site. This was actually the original lot size. What's being proposed for the Burger King is a significantly smaller lot size out of this, so an administrative plat is being required to make that adjustment. What that does is it will trigger for future development moving along Gardner Road in the Plaza South development. They will also have to replat those lands. It's a little unusual that the developer would have final platted all of this property the way it was done, because they usually do not know how much land they're trying to sell to various providers or vendors or different landowners. In this case, they happened to final plat it, so now we're going to have to also do an administrative plat. But all of those things are being worked out with the actual applicant on this process. So just wanted to point that out at this location. You saw the site plan already, and it was pointed out that the enhanced crosswalk, or the area that's the pedestrian connection from the trail along Gardner Road heading into the Burger King site, that was a pretty significant effort. When we have these trails, we do want to make it convenient for residents to approach the restaurant from not only an automobile standpoint, but also from a pedestrian standpoint. So that was an important part of this overall site plan. You'll notice that the access points are all off of the private drive, Vivian Drive, within the development. There is no direct access onto Gardner Road at this location or along the private drive, which I believe is 187th Terrace on the south side of that. So as was described by the applicant, this is a one-way kind of site circulation process, and it also splits into two drive-through order lanes that then converge into one lane, meeting the requirements for the city codes. The landscape plan discussed this briefly. Foundation plantings was an area that this plan was lacking in. In exchange for that, the applicant has agreed to go ahead and do significant planting up front of the parking area. So between the trail and the parking, you're seeing significantly more shrubs in addition to the trees that are provided there in exchange for not having the direct foundation plantings. Again, the applicant has mentioned part of that is that pedestrian circulation around the building and the criticalness of that and the tightness of the site. So it's real hard to get that landscaping up against the building itself. This is just the architectural elevations. You saw those already. I'm not going to go into great details other than there was discussion about the materials used and the overall look and transparency. There is a deviation request on the transparency on the south side of the structure, and that's in the staff report for you. And if you have any questions on that, I'm sure the applicant or I can address those questions. As far as the staff findings, I'm not going to read everything that's on this page. Just let you know that this is generally in conformance with the code as well as the preliminary plan for the area, along with those approved deviations that were part of the preliminary plan. So this document, when we look at final development plans, that's the biggest issue that we're looking at. Is it consistent with what was previously approved through the preliminary process? I've already noted that the lot is significantly smaller. That's being handled through the administrative process. But as far as our review and code requirements, they are still meeting our code requirements for that site that is for this development. What I did highlight, two things that I want to bring forward here. The applicant will need to correct some calculations on the landscape plans as a condition of approval of final development plan. They're aware of that. And then also at the bottom, the additional landscape being required along Gardner Road frontage to address the deviation request and the direct decorative pedestrian walkway from the parking lot to the building is being required also in response to the deviation request. And I just want to highlight those because those are conditions of approval. They've been incorporated in the plan, but we're going to make sure that we cover our bases here whenever we're addressing deviations. Staff recommendation is for approval of the final development plan for the Burger King located on the east side of Gardner Road, approximately 500 feet north of 188th Street, with the conditions outlined in the staff analysis and deviation request sections of the staff report, and those were those two items that I highlighted on the previous slide. The suggested motion is here before you. With that, staff will stop with the presentation and be available for any questions.
Dave, Plaza
I'll leave that
South,
up on there.
one of
Yes.
the things that we discussed on it was that there's going to be like an agreement on maintenance of the roadway, the private roadway. Is that
Correct. So all the private roadways, everything that's in there will fall under the business association. That is all handled through that process. As part of the final plating process, those conditions should have been met. I think Bob pointed out in his staff report that all the previous conditions for the preliminary reports and everything were met. So as part of that final plan, that is when those association documents, similar to an HOA, documents get filed at the county. That is all in line, yes. So the city will have no responsibility for maintaining those roads.
okay? I just wanted to make sure that got done because that was one of our discussion items for
Yeah.
Plaza South. Is there any other questions for the city or the applicant? No? Can we get the motion
Yeah, I was
back up
gonna
because
say.
we're missing one of the motions in our packet?
Oh. You said that was missing in your packet?
Slide 6, please.
Yeah.
Right, number 7, right there, that you
Oh,
have.
7,
Yeah,
I'm
she's
sorry.
got it.
Showing.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, number
Seven.
1 is,
Number-
wait, no,
number
2 is
two
not
is-
in our packet.
Yes, I'll just mention that. I added that this evening after reading the staff report and looking at things. I just wanted to have the condition that said, you're gonna go ahead and meet these things. Even though they're in the plans, it's one of those
It is
details.
kind of one of my questions. I didn't see them in our recommended motion.
Yeah,
Can we blow that up so we can actually see it?
yeah,
Yeah,
there we go. Yeah, so condition number 2 is what's been adjusted there. And it's basically saying that the conditions identified in the staff analysis and deviation request sections of the staff report be incorporated into the final development plans. You've seen those on the
Right.
documents, but whenever we do that, from my perspective, I like having this coverage, so that everybody's clear, this is what we're approving, not just simply the 2 conditions that were there before.
completely agree. Okay, with no further questions, I'd accept a motion.
After review of application FDP-21-04, a final development plan for Burger King dated May 3, 2021, and staff report dated June 28, 2021. The Planning Commission approves the application provided the following conditions are met. Number 1, the construction plans for any utilities, infrastructure, or public facilities shall meet all technical specifications, and public information plans shall be submitted and approved prior to issuance of a building permit. Number 2, the conditions identified in the staff analysis and deviation request sections of the staff report be incorporated into the final development plan. And number 3, the administrative plat AP-21-09 shall be recorded with the Johnson County Records and Tax Administration prior to the issuance of a building permit.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner McNear and a second by Commissioner Mader. Any discussion on the motion? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Cooper, did you say aye?
I did.
Okay. Any against? Any abstentions? Motion passes 6-0. All right. Regular agenda item number 2, FDP 21-05. Does the city have an intro on this?
Yes, very quickly, this is Aspen Creek East. It does say Aspen Creek in your plan. I did notice tonight when I was reviewing things that the applicant's going to refer to this as Aspen Creek East. So it is located at the terminus of 186th Street and Canton Street, approximately 2,000 feet east of Gardner Road. This is a final development plan for the overall Aspen Creek residential development. You've had this item before you with the duplex pieces and the single-family pieces under the preliminary side. One of the requirements that we asked of the applicant was to give us a final development plan showing how those 2 developments work together. Typically for a single-family residential, we would not have a final development plan like this. But again, because this is one parcel of land being developed with 2 styles of housing, we felt it was important that you saw the connections on that. With that, the applicant's representative is here tonight to provide a presentation.
And the applicant's at the podium. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for your time. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
My name's Judd Clausen. I'm with Phelps Engineering. Address is 1270 North Winchester, Olathe, Kansas. For the record, appearing on behalf of my client, Aspen Creek LLC, owner Greg Preeb, who will also be the builder and developer of this project. Real brief presentation here for you tonight, just to refamiliarize yourself. As Dave mentioned, this is on the east side of the existing Aspen Creek development. Gardner Road over on the left-hand side. The Burger King you just approved is over in the lower left-hand corner there. This is, again, kind of the final phase of the single-family and duplex homes that were part of the original Aspen Creek. This slide here, you may recall this slide from, I believe we were here in April, and we showed you the layout. The northern portion is the R1 single-family homes. There's 56 lots there. The southern portion are the multifamily duplexes. That's the part that we had rezoned to RP4, 66 units there, 33 buildings. And then the very south part of it was the open space area that we were programming with that trail and some other amenities and landscaping and such for the residents there. So what you see on the left-hand side of your screen is the overall final development plan for the whole project, okay? The northern part, I believe this body has approved the final plat for it already at the last meeting. This is exactly the same as the final plat and matches the preliminary plat to a T, with the road network and the lot layouts and such for this. The southern part as well matches the plat that was recently approved and the preliminary development plan. On the right, you see the duplex homes that were laid out there in the RP4 multifamily area. Just a little bit more detail on that. One thing you'll notice that the image on the right was an older image. The image on the left is a little more updated. We did add in that island in the cul-de-sac there. You see it in the upper northwest corner just to add a little more green space so we didn't have a sea of asphalt in that public island or public cul-de-sac in that location there. Really not a whole lot more to say on the layout. It's what you've already seen before. Again, we had that southern area, which was the open space area. There's a power line kind of running east and west through that area. We're using part of that as Frisbee golf stations. We were going to put a little hammock garden in there and do some walking paths kind of in through that area to help provide for some additional private open space for the enjoyment of the residents who live there. One thing that I think maybe got a little bit mixed up in maybe your staff packets was just the elevations of the buildings. There are three different types of building elevations here. They're similar, but they're different. And so what I wanted to do, just kind of step you through that. This is the basic building here, a type A. One thing what we're doing on this is not necessarily represented in this black and white elevation, but both windows there have shutters. We are also adding an accent color on all the paint schemes, so you not only have the base, the trim, colors, but we'll do an accent color which will pick up the color for the louver, the garage doors, the shutters, and the front door. So kind of provides just a little bit more accent or differentiation between the units that are out there today which don't have accent colors, and just to provide a little bit more pop to how the fronts of the buildings look. The other thing I'll point out too is this elevation shows that there's a wainscot of stone in the front, but we're actually taking that up to under the eave line of the first floor, and I'll show you what that means in just a minute. And finally, one thing when talking with staff, in particular Bob Case, about was maybe doing an upgrade to the garage doors, and so Greg's agreed to do that. What you see here is kind of a standard garage door. We're going to upgrade that to one with a little bit different imprinting as well as additional hardware that's on the door. So let me show you here some elevations. These elevations are of the type A. This is actually built in Lenexa, a project Greg is completing right now. And you see on the upper right, there's a Dutch hip to that roof, and then on the one on the left, it's got a kind of a double roof line on that left side. The wainscot is brought all the way up to under the eave of the first elevation, so adding a little bit more detailing to that. And then the things that I'm representing tonight is that we're going to be adding shutters to these and then doing upgraded garage doors and accent colors with the paint schemes. And there's several different paint schemes that we'll go with, obviously all very tasteful colors, neutrals and grays and things like that. Here's an example of kind of what I was talking about the upgraded garage door. We had talked about maybe doing something with a window in it, but just from a security standpoint, and also not a lot of people like to go actually wash those windows, so they tend to get a little dirty. So we decided to do something that was just a little bit more architecturally pleasing and still provide that security for our residents. This is the type B. Again, it's the same basic outline of the building, but we changed some things up. Like on the right-hand side, you don't see that Dutch hit anymore, but we changed up some of the shingling on that. Same type of other things that are on there. We're going to be bringing up that stone along the front. Again, doing the same things I just talked about with the type A, but it just offers a little bit different architecture to it, so it's just not a repeat of the last one. And then finally, on the type C building, you'll see in the lower right, above the right garage door, brought in a hip or a gable roof right there above that unit, and then changed up some of the siding shingles there. This one also kind of has some differences in the windows. The upper right, there where we've brought in that roof line. It just has a single, but it's a window on the opposite side there, just to the right. And so this is kind of what that building looks like. Also, another Lenexa product that, you know, we're building there in that project. Thing that's a little different about this picture too is this unit, and actually all units, we can flip the garage for those corner lots. And so this is what we'll plan to do on several of the corner lots that we have out there. Again, it just kind of offers the ability to have two windows facing the street, and, you know, it kind of breaks up some of the garages along the street and offers just a little bit different variation. So that's really kind of it. I'm here to answer any questions, and my client does agree with the stipulations.
Thank you. Is there any questions for the applicant? Okay, and we lost Commissioner Cooper, or is she back now?
I was gonna suggest that you ask to see if she's on there. It's not showing up on the picture-in-picture, but she still may be on here, so I don't know.
Commissioner Cooper?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
We had a server interruption that took the screen blank for a little bit here, and it's been reestablishing itself, and I'm not sure if we just lost that connection. Let's see if the Zoom meeting is working. I would assume for now that she's not present. You still have a quorum.
Yes. Yes, we're still good. Go ahead, Commissioner McGee.
Just for memory purposes, the duplex units, are they going to be for sale, ownership, or are they going to be rentals?
I think these are rentals.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
City presentation.
Let you get caught up. We're doing the technology all at once here, so we'll let Melissa catch up for just a second. Again, Dave Knopick with the Community Development Director here. As we wait to do this, I'll just mention that it seems like the live stream went blank in the picture, but I think we were still recording and we were still on live stream. It's just that it had a blank period there. So we'll figure that out. Somewhere there was a server interruption because it took that whole section out. So with that, as was mentioned before, this is the Aspen Creek East area, which is a final development plan. There we go. Thank you. Sorry. Final development plan that is shown here. It is approximately 88 acres, I believe, in total. Sorry about that, 33 acres, 33.6 acres of property that has been undeveloped. It was originally part of an overall 158-acre annexation back in April of 1996 and has remained undeveloped during this whole period of time. Let's see if we can. You've already seen kind of the layout for the single-family development as well as the duplex development here. Again, it's a total of 89 lots, 122 residential units, the southern portion being duplex units, the northern portion being single-family units. There is infrastructure already in place and available to the site, and sidewalks will be extended throughout the development on both sides of the street. So it's a continuation of the development pattern in the sense of what's going on in the public right-of-way that already occurs with the Aspen Creek development to the west and northwest. I just wanted to show the landscape plan for a second here, the street tree plan. You can see that in place. I do know from the previous meetings on the preliminary there was comment about making sure there was a note regarding landscaping and the provision of landscaping. The key that I wanted to point out with this slide though was that with the duplex development there are requirements for buffer landscaping along the west and the north and the east side of the development, so that is being provided by the developer as well. So that is part of the development plan. So in addition to the street trees, we do have those buffer requirements being met. Overall, from staff findings standpoint, again, these preliminary plans and elements, and actually that should say the final plan, is in substantial compliance with the preliminary plan and the plat that has already been approved. So we have no issues in regard to the consistency with that, in regard to the plats or the code itself and comprehensive plan. Staff is recommending approval of the final development plan for Aspen Creek East residential development with the conditions suggested in the motion. And the suggested motion is before you tonight, and I stand available for any questions.
Okay, are there any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, I'd accept a motion.
Make that motion. After review of application FDP-21-05, a final development plan for Aspen Creek, May 3rd, 2021, Aspen Creek East, May 3rd, 2021, and staff report dated June 28, 2021. The Planning Commission approves the application provided the following conditions are met. Item number 1, the final plat shall be recorded with the Johnson County Records and Tax Administration prior to the issuance of building permits. And item number 2, the construction plans for any utilities, infrastructure, or public facilities shall meet all technical specifications, and public improvement plans shall be submitted and approved prior to the issuance of a building permit.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Mader and a second by Commissioner McNear. Is there any further discussion on the motion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any against? Any abstention? Motion passes 5-0. All right, that's our final regular agenda item. We have no discussion items, so I accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion to adjourn from Commissioner McNear and a second by Commissioner Mader. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any against?